Okay guys, welcome back. My name is Jerome and this is Rome's Meal Prep. Today we're gonna be making something a little bit easy. All we're gonna be making is chicken sausage and veggie bowl. This is something that my wife kind of told me about and I kind of put a little twist on it and it came out really good. It's really simple. All we have to do is chop up some veggies, chop up some of this chicken sausage. We're gonna air fry it, let that cook, put it in a bowl and it's ready to serve. So let's begin. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping up these veggies. I'm gonna put them into a bowl. So I got this clear bowl here. I'm gonna go ahead and wash these, wash this cutting board, wash these veggies. Okay, so I got my yellow squash here and I got my zucchini. Almost forgot what this was, but yeah, I got yellow squash here, zucchini. Let me grab a knife to chop it up. Okay, so I got the yellow squash. I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna just cut up these tops and the bottom to discard. I'm gonna cut this down the middle. One time as best I can. And then I'm just gonna start chopping it up, so. These don't have to be too thin, too thick, whatever you like. It's just gonna go into a bowl. It's basically just a bowl of veggies. So, you know, I think right here it got a little bit fatter. So I'm gonna cut this in half. So now it's a little bit better. And then I'm gonna continue chopping. But this is just an easy, light meal. You have this for dinner, you can have this for lunch. I mean, there's chicken sausage in it. So I suppose if you put like some eggs in there, you'd have it for breakfast. Yeah, I'm just gonna start putting all this into this bowl. Chop that. Again, chop the fat end in half, and then I'm just gonna start in decent size, like, I don't know, like about ½ an inch. You know, something like that. Then again, going right into the bowl. Just trying to incorporate more veggies into my diet. This is a very healthy meal. And if you have any dietary restrictions, like you don't eat pork, you know, chicken sausage. If you do want some pork, just have some regular sausage, whatever you like. There really is no limit to how you can cook this. Again, cut off the top and the bottom. Slice it in half. Slice off the big end. And then yeah, just chopping. But like I was saying, I was making this for my wife and my mom who was staying. I think you guys might have saw it in some of the other videos. If you haven't seen some of the other videos, go ahead, feel free to check them out. I'll have one of them probably up as a card. So go ahead and check it out, whether it's here or here. But yeah, they both loved it. I mean, I made a bunch and that got ate up real quick of this. Now, one thing I forgot is I'm gonna go ahead and air fry this. So I'm gonna start preheating the air fryer to 375. So give me 1 second. And now we have some zucchini. Do the same thing. Cut off the top, cut off the bottom, set that aside. I'm gonna cut it in half, best as I can. And this, I'm just gonna chop. Probably getting a little too thick there, so I'm cutting it in half. Long ways before I continue to chop it up short way. Again, it's whatever you want. If you want bigger bites, make it bigger bites. If you want a little bit more manageable, smaller bites, smaller slices. So yeah, once I get this all cut up and then that air fryer is preheated, we're just gonna go ahead, toss in some oil, some seasonings, toss it, put it on a bake sheet and let that thing air fry with the sausage. It's kind of like a one pan, I think they call it a one pan, one sheet pan meal. And I mean, we started like what, about 11:30, and you'll see, like, you know, if you can see the clock behind me, how quick of a meal this actually is. The only thing, like preparation wise, I feel like this is pretty quick. However, it does need to air fry for a bit. At least I like to get it real crispy. All right. So now here I got some chicken sausage. I'm gonna go ahead and slice open this. Get these little sausages out. I actually have another one I'm gonna open up and use. I like to keep these chicken sausages in my freezer. They last a really long time. They were deep frosting and some water in the sink. And then you just cook them up and it's good to go. Great way to save some refrigerator space, but then have some good meals when you need it. All right, so I'm just gonna chop these up to, you know, some manageable sizes. I would say I like chopping these kind of thin. I mean, kind of like thick pepperoni, but if you want something thicker, a little bit more meaty, by all means. Also, don't forget, this entire recipe will be hosted on my website, romesmealprep.com. It'll be linked down in the description. Feel free to go check it out. I try to keep it up to date with the videos. If it's not there already by the time you're watching this, just give it a few days and it will be. On that website, it's not just the recipe. I have the macros, I have the serving size, the yield. I try to have a pretty good, thorough description of everything. That way it's just nicely laid out, and then you can just bookmark it and then come back later when you want to use it. But again, feel free to go check out the website, www.romesmealprep.com. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe so you can see more recipes like this. Okay, just chopping up the last chicken sausage here. Trying not to cut myself. And then I think the last thing we have here is this, these mushrooms. So I'm gonna get a strainer for these mushrooms and I'm gonna strain them under the water just to make sure they're really clean. Okay, so now that I've strained and cleaned off all these mushrooms, I'm just gonna give them a quick rough chop. Nothing crazy. I love mushrooms, so I'm gonna use all these. I think mushrooms are underrated and a lot of people don't like them because they don't try them, or maybe they weren't cooked well, or whatever the case was, or cleaned, you know? But literally just a rough chop, nothing crazy. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in with the veggies. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some potatoes. I'm gonna give them a quick rinse and then we can chop them. Okay, so all I'm gonna do here is a rough chop, slice them down long ways in the middle, one time, then again down the middle, and then I'm just gonna chop them like that. I think the goal here is just to try to get them the same size as possible. As you can see, I got another bowl for the potatoes. You don't want them too big because then they won't cook all the way through with everything else. Okay, just gonna clean up as I go, makes things a lot easier at the end. Okay, so now what I need to do is I'm gonna add some seasoning to this. So now I'm gonna add some Italian seasoning. And by some, I mean a lot. It's a lot of veggies. And I like my food seasoned. Ain't nobody got time to be eating some weak seasoned food. So you're not gonna eat it anyways. Forgot the oil, so I'm gonna drizzle some oil in there. This is gonna help it crisp up in the air fryer as well as help the ingredients, the seasoning, stick to the vegetables. Same thing over here. Okay, last thing I'm doing is garlic salt. Now I got this little wooden spatula. I'm just gonna go ahead and mix it as best I can. Now the potatoes. And this is such a cheap and easy meal. I mean, the veggies alone cost like what? Maybe 10 bucks, maybe? A sack of potatoes like 5 bucks. I paid for 2 squash, it's saying I paid $1.11. For 2 zucchini, I paid $1.23. The sack of potatoes was $3.74. The mushrooms, $2.37. And then for the sausage, it's $5.23. So, and this will make multiple meals, multiple servings, and you're really gonna love it. Okay, so now that I have all the ingredients, I have these 2 sheet pans that fit perfectly in my air fryer. I think this one came with it. This one did not, but it fits perfectly. And then again, we have our potatoes seasoned, veggies seasoned, and then our sausage. I'm gonna get some parchment paper. I get the parchment paper, I crumple it up so it's easier to handle. It just stays put. Just fit it in there, boom. Okay, and then I'm just gonna start layering things. So, see what fits. Some potatoes, a lot of veggies, and then Just gonna go ahead and start sprinkling this sausage on top of it. Try to get it very evenly covered. So again, I've had my air fryer preheating at 375. Cool, that's good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Wash my hands. Okay, so now I'm gonna move these over there. Okay, so as you can see, I have my air fryer here, 375. Don't worry about that timer. I'm gonna put this one at the very top for about 10 minutes. So if we go in here, you can see as high as I can, like that. And then I'm gonna try to grab the other one and put it about middle, as such. Now I'm gonna change this timer to 20 minutes. Okay guys, there you have it. It looks real simple, kind of boring, but I promise you this is very flavorful, very healthy, and very easy. You're gonna have a hearty meal with some potatoes, some vegetables, and some chicken sausage that's really gonna knock your socks off. Go ahead and try this out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and tune in next time for more recipes like this. I'll see you guys later. Bye.